Round 6 of the DTM 2025, and a race that never was for Fabio Scherer after a drive shaft failed on the formation lap. The race got underway with René Rast from pole position and Marco Wittmann on his 200th DTM start, coming from third on the grid to get straight down the inside of Jack Aitken's Ferrari at turn 1 and get the BMW up to second place. Thomas Preining in the bright yellow and green Porsche, also with a good start, challenging for that third place, but he slotted in the end into fourth position. The replay from Jack Aitken's Ferrari on the onboard camera showing just how tight it was on that run through turn 1, up against the BMW of Wittmann, running out of road and almost taking to the grass. Huge disappointment for Jordan Pepper after this contact with the Ferrari of Thierry Vermeulen gave him a puncture. The South African limping back to the pits and dropping down to last place, from which he would never recover. A retirement for the driver that arrived at Zandvoort third in the championship. As the race wore on, the two BMWs began to pull away from the Ferrari of Aitken and the Porsche of Preining. Meanwhile, the McLaren of Ben Durr from 6th on the grid was having a big battle with the Mustang of Arjun Minor, who was trying to recover from a retirement in the first race of the weekend. The pair duelled for many laps side by side and ran together through the banking at turn 3. Contact on the way out of the corner. McLaren versus Mustang, two completely different types of car, but so evenly matched around this circuit. Into the first phase of pit stops, Thomas Preining coming in, Manthey EMA, one of the best crews in terms of turning the cars around. Landgraf have also been lightning quick at their pit stops, and Lucas Auer, the championship leader, was in with another quick pit stop. Dry but very windy and cold conditions for the second race of the weekend. Preining and Aitken continued to duel over the final spot on the podium. The Austrian just about sneaking through on slightly different pit stop strategies. This is how it looked on board, with Jack Aitken. Preining getting better traction on the run towards the chicane at turns 11 and 12, with Aitken still getting his tyres up to temperature. The stewards were kept busy with lots of incidents to have a look at, lots of duels. This one between Nicky Tim, who'd finished on the podium in race 1, and Ricardo Feller on the Land Motorsport Audi. Preining and Aitken remained glued, joined at the hip in the battle for third place, but they couldn't keep up with the BMWs. Maro Engel, meanwhile, from 12th on the grid, got himself up into 5th position, ahead of Lucas Auer, the championship leader, in 6th. Not on course for a podium, but on course for a 6th consecutive point-scoring finish. Then, for the final pit stop, in they came together in the battle for third. A race between the two pit crews. Aitken had been slightly quicker on the pit lane entry, but it was slightly quicker for the stop itself for Manthey. And so Preining came out just ahead of the British driver. Then in came René Rast for his final stop, the three-time champion, having started on pole position, a record pole position. That means he's now started on pole more times than any other driver in history, including the great Bernd Schneider. Rast came out having pitted later than Marco Wittmann. The gap had been 2 seconds, but it came down pretty rapidly. By the time he got his tyres up to temperature, Rast would have the mirrors full of Wittmann's green BMW. Then there was contact in this top 10 battle between the Ferrari of Thierry Vermeulen and the race 1 winner, Arjen Guwen. Guwen sent off the road, but Vermeulen would get a penalty and have to drop back and give the position back. Absolutely together then all the way through the final phase of the race. Wittmann kept on piling the pressure, trying to get a victory in his 200th DTM race, but it wasn't to be. René Rast was able to keep him at bay, and it was still close in the battle for third, but Preining would get the upper hand in that one. The checkered flag, René Rast taking his 28th career victory in the DTM. Marco Wittmann coming home second. A 1-2 finish for Schubert Motorsport, with Preining getting his second podium of the season following back-to-back non-finishes. René Rast then, with that victory, moving up to second place in the championship standings behind Lucas Auer. The next stop for the DTM takes us to the Norris Ring and the streets of Nuremberg. René Rast finishing the weekend at Zandvoort as a race winner ahead of Marco Wittmann and Thomas Preining.